Hey guys, my name is Alexander and I'm from Los Angeles, California. And we're going to be talking about the sun moving into Sagittarius, which is solar ingression, and we're entering into the Sagittarius season of 2019. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on. So I'm going to talk to us about it. And then if you want, you can register for a guided meditation at the end that'll help you to install light into that whole month so that it will come to you throughout the rest of the month. So it's like a really kind of like powerful quantum meditation specifically for the month of Sagittarius. So anyhow, every year the sun moves into the sign Sagittarius on November 22nd, give or take a day of every year. And in astrology, an ingression is whenever a planet moves into a different constellation, and then it begins a transit. So when the sun moves into a new sign, all of the light that comes from the sun, which is pretty much everything in the world, is filtered through that constellation. So you can see how powerful it is. Everything is coming from the sun, everything is coming from the light. So the ions, the atoms, the subatomic particles, the cosmic pixels, everything is influenced by that zodiac archetype, that zodiac sign. Also, something that's really interesting is that the sun represents about 60 to 70% of our karma in a birth chart, an astrological chart. So this is a huge shift that we all feel. So the actions that we are going to take during the month of, any month, but during the month of Sagittarius, are actions that are going to create karma for us. And we're also going to face certain actions that we made during previous Sun and Sagittarius times in this life, like last year, the year before, as well as previous lifetimes also. So it's a really powerful opportunity that we have here, and this is how we can understand how really every moment is unique, right? And it's also an opportunity for us to change the game. So Sagittarius is actually, it's the final zodiac sign of the autumn season. So we started with Libra, wow, amazing. Then we built with Scorpio, and then we close it with Sagittarius. It's a fire sign, and the internal energy of Sagittarius is air. So it's like really blowing around some hot air. Now, when the sun is transiting through Sagittarius, we know it as Sagittarius season, there are certain laws, there are certain cosmic rules and different propensities, as well as different gifts and challenges that are set into effect. And in DASH Astrology, which is the astrological school that I created, we know that Sagittarius is ruled by Temperance, which is an archetype from the tarot. Okay? So this is my tarot deck. Let me see if you can. Sagittarius. Like, really powerful stuff here. Okay? So with this archetype of Temperance, we learn how to transmute lower vibrations into higher energies. And it's really interesting because lower vibrations or lower levels of consciousness, for example, are like greed and neediness and hatred and shame and things that just make us not feel so good about ourselves. We try to transcend them or to transmute them. Ideally, we do it ourselves by having some kind of creative outlet or doing something that elevates us. Spiritual work, anything that can really elevate us out of these energies, unconditional love, cultivating compassion, things like that. They are powerful enough to take us out of these lower vibrations. But what happens a lot of times is people will use substances such as drugs or alcohol or even other things like, sex or manipulation, control, power, money to kind of like block out those lower vibrations. And then they access the higher vibrations, which is in a way kind of like cheating, because then when that wears off, which it will, because anything that we use to block out the lower vibrations, it's transitory because it's in the material world. Those lower vibrations, they come back. So then we become addicted to something, using something to block out those lower vibrations. But the good news is that Sagittarius actually teaches us how to transmute those lower vibrations into higher energy. So if you're kind of like struggling with that, even just with self-love and self-care and these kinds of things, then you can temper, because Sagittarius is, mixing the elements there to really access this powerful state in the month of Sagittarius. So this is kind of like a really powerful zodiac hack for you to understand throughout that month, okay? Now, there are specific transits of every year that's unique to a certain season, which I'm going to talk about in this video. And first, as always, on November 22nd, the sun is going to move into Sagittarius. And the first thing that we are being asked, that Sagittarius really wants us to know, is that we should not settle for less. Oh, and I also want to mention that Sagittarius falls onto your birth chart in a very specific place. So the themes are going to manifest into a certain, what's called astrological house, unique to each and every one of you. So anyhow, we don't want to settle for less. So if people are telling you that you cannot achieve your dreams, do not listen to them. Sagittarius is just wants you to block these people out. Even if it's your ego telling you that you cannot achieve it, do not listen to it. Sagittarius really says, in Sagittarius, it is a month of miracles. Anything is possible and you can do it. So again, where Sagittarius is ruling in your chart, it's going to indicate where you can bring miracles into your life. So if you need a miracle for anything, that's where it'll enter, and then it'll spread out. It's not only that it only goes into one place, it's going to spread from there, but that's where it'll first show up, and then you need to kind of like irrigate it into other areas, which is amazing because Sagittarius is this fire energy, so it's like sharing the flame, like sharing that torch. By the way, if you want like a really short, accurate write-up, a reading to see kind of what is the most important themes that you're facing right now, then you can book me for a reading. I will look at the chart like in a dash flash and just look at the chart and say, because usually when I look at charts, I see right away, whoa, what's going on there? Like, what's the major thing going on there? And I can write it out to you. It'll just be like really short. Or if you have any any questions that you want me to look at, then you can just, write me the question. I'll do the dash flash. It's $42, and then I'll write it to you in text or email or whatever medium you prefer. So you can, do that definitely. So solar Sagittarius season really wants to push us up and out of our limitations. So it's really about reaching the stars and not selling yourself short. So it is a month when we are, when we cannot settle for just a little bit of contentment or just a little bit of enjoyment. In the month of Sagittarius, we take it all. We take the whole cake. You just take it. If you want it, take it. No excuses whatsoever. You can have the cake. You can eat it too. Watch the waistline though, because yeah, seriously, watch the waistline because it's the holiday, not because it's the holiday season, but the holiday season falls within this amazing energy of Sagittarius. In most religions, it's about bringing light into the world, like we're lighting candles, we're lighting trees, whatever. Sagittarius is that fire energy. Watch the waistline because that Jupiter energy, the ruler of Sagittarius, can kind of make you grow. But the point is, you guys, God really wants you to have everything. So don't let anybody tell you differently, because you are to have it all. The universe wants to give you more than what you can receive, but it's going to come at us at the rate that we are ready or willing to receive it. Okay? So either way, the month of Sagittarius is when we are really to think big and really push our minds and out of this small thinking and expand our mind into bigger thinking. And so it's within this month that we can strive for happiness and we can strive for fulfillment beyond our wildest dreams. Absolutely. Nothing is impossible. By the way, Mars just entered into Scorpio. That's really pushing us to achieve the impossible, to say the least. So there's a lot of supportive energy from the cosmos right now. Sagittarius also teaches us that having it all, what that really means. Okay, so when we say you can have it all, of course you can have the cake and you can eat it too, right? I mean, we don't want to be like hedonistic, but we can have everything. But what also this means on a very deep level is that we can have the material and we can also have the spiritual, the fulfillment that comes with it. Because a lot of times if we just settle for the material, we neglect the spiritual. Or if we just want the spiritual, it has no way to express itself without the material. So too many times in life what happens is that we just go after the material and then we forget about the spiritual, but we're supposed to have it all. The money and the fulfillment, not just the money without the fulfillment. So we can have our soulmate, we can have our dream job. Everything is meant to be had. So it's really important that you believe in destiny. The ego wants you to think small, but during Sagittarius, we can think bigger than normal. And when we know that everything is possible, then you can realize that you need to perceive it first, and then you will see it, not the other way around. And there's a big difference. It's not that you're going to see it and then it's real. First, we need to perceive it, and then we will see it. That's how it works. Well, how is perception different than seeing? Perception is a state of the mind, right? Seeing is a physical thing, right? So we can perceive it, and then we will see it, not the other way around. Because if we get stuck in the other way, then we're going to be ending up in deprivation, and then Capricorn, the month of Capricorn is going to suck, which is the next month, okay? So really important that you understand that. If you're struggling with that, or if you have any comments to that, please put them in the comments below. Now, this year, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, is transiting through what's called the galactic center of the Milky Way, which is located in Sagittarius. Jupiter is going to stay in Sagittarius just a little bit longer, but while Jupiter is transiting that critical degree, our hearts are opening up more than before, which is really powerful. Okay? They're opening up more than before. At the same time, we might feel voids stronger than normal. Okay? So we don't need to be dramatic about things we are feeling. We just need to remember that everything is transitory and that we shouldn't get too fixated, right, on whatever is going on in our reality, okay, or in our chart, wherever this is manifesting. And also, interestingly, in DASH Astrology, Sagittarius is the most evolved of the fire signs because it's like growing out of that animal nature, right? Because they're typically all animals, like in the zodiac. So it means that we are being asked to grow out of our what's called subjectivity. Our subjectivity, okay? Yeah, okay? Yeah, our subjectivity might not have anything to do with the reality, okay? So there's a lot of philosophical things to understand, especially during the month of Sagittarius. By the way, I want to give you guys a tip. The solar month of Cancer, which is from June 20th to July 20th, has an interesting connection with the solar month of Sagittarius. So I want you to think for a minute about what you set into motion during that summer solstice, okay? From June 20th to July 20th, look in your calendar, look in your journal, because now, during the month of Sagittarius, something really interesting is that we are going to work on the things we set into motion then during Sagittarius, even if we forgot about them. So look into your diaries, your journals, your calendars, whatever was going on, and really on those dates, and you will kind of get an idea of what your road looks like in Sagittarius. And you can even look from years before if you want. I mean, it depends on how deep you want to go with it. So anyhow, one of the first things that we are going to be asked to learn about during the month of Sagittarius is about happiness. Why? Because the sun is going to make an aspect called the trine to Chiron in Aries. And Aries is also a fire sign. So what that means is that we are going to be seriously healing friendships with this transit of the sun and Chiron in Aries. So we're going to also be asked to access the happiness within us, right? So that we do not need validation from other people. So when we are requiring validation from others, we are not aligned with them. We are in a state of some kind of compromise, or it can also be some kind of power struggle. So Chiron, the wounded healer, the crazy asteroid, something that I work with in my sessions, and I also teach about the Chiron point, it really wants us to bring healing to our happiness and to our friendships. And by the way, I think I want to share with you guys, you should check out, I'm working on a project for astrological relationship alignment for friends, family, business members and stuff. You can check out, I'll put a link in the description below. It's called Starmates, and it's a really cool project I have working on. And you can also sign up to be notified about future developments as well. But it helps with the archetypal kind of blueprint that's going on within people in your relationships. So new, old, whatever. But either way, so yeah, check that out. Starmates.app is the URL. But once we can tell, within ourselves, whether someone is good for us or not, right? Once we can tell within ourselves, is that person good for me or is that person not good for me? We really will not be able to attain a true happiness in a friendship or a relationship. So we need to be able to have that discernment if we want to have happiness. Otherwise, what happens is that we tend to listen to what other people say, especially the media, including social media, what they suggest. For example, we want what is popular, right? Or what is deemed beautiful, or what is trending, okay? And it can eclipse what our true desire is, okay? So until we're no longer vulnerable to these outside influences, right? We need to work on being able to tell, is this person good for me or not? So when we buy, essentially when we are buying into something that is not good for us, or we, or let me put it this way, when we buy into a pattern, or when we buy into a program, that we will be happy once we get this relationship, or that we will be happy once we have this job, or that we will be happy once we move into this place, or that we will be happy once we have these clothes. No matter how many mantras or how many incantations is what I call them, or how many affirmations that we affirm, once we have bought into a program, until it is uninstalled, right? And then the affirmation is installed, which is something I do in my balancings. the affirmation is only going to create stress. And I have a YouTube video on that from earlier this year. You can check it out. I'll put a link. Now, of course, it's very interesting because you can say as many positive affirmations as you want until the cows come home. If it's not installed within you properly, it can create stress. It's called psychological reversal, which means that your mind is sabotaging something that's positive. Happens all the time. And most of my sessions, I am programming the affirmations to work by balancing out the survival patterns that are sabotaging, that are attacking what's good. Believe it or not, this is like a seriously misunderstood power. So check out that video if you want more information, or leave some comments or questions if you have any. Now, of course, we can reach some kind of temporary happiness that may last for a minute or for a week when we are going for the short fix, but that void is going to remain within us. Even, or let me put it this way, the void is going to stay within us until we uninstall the negative programs that interfere with the circuitry of Temperance, which is the archetypal ruler of Sagittarius, and manifestation. So even though we might have a good time or we might have a good experience, if we want lasting happiness that stays with us really endlessly, and trust me, it can be endless, we need to be able to connect with the energy within and not just that illusionary facade that it represents. All right? Really important, because we all have various identities that want to be healed with the sun's transit to Chiron and Aries. So we are going to be able to travel back in time and heal any kind of selfish, self-indulgent short circuits that we made in our relationships, as long as we remember that lasting happiness requires restriction and really the ability to say no when we'd rather be, say, for example, codependent or selfish with our ego, because codependent is really just being selfish. And anytime you're codependent, you're just codependent with your ego. That's just the truth. So anyhow, true happiness can be yours when you allow yourself the courage to forego that instant gratification for infinite gratitude. And that's a really powerful wisdom to understand. All right, so what else is going on? On November 26th, we're going to have the new moon in Sagittarius. Stay tuned for that, because I will definitely write more about that. And then I'll have my moon virtual ritual. And then on November 27th, Neptune is going to go direct in Pisces. And it's going to ask us to be more sincere and to let go of our agendas. So this means that we do things because we're in an authentic space and we're honest, rather than having some kind of hidden plan or a secret ego agenda, things like that. So when we can really manage this, we're going to be able to have true friendships, which is just like totally fulfilling and really amazing. And then on December 2nd, Jupiter is going to leave Sagittarius and it's going to enter into Capricorn. Woohoo! Okay, this is, wow, it's going to be a big shift. And then it's going to make a square to Chiron a few days later on December 8th. So with this transit, I need to talk to you guys very seriously a little bit about codependency and destiny. So Jupiter and Capricorn. I will definitely write more about this as well, but I think what I want to say is that we all have free will. All right? This is a basic understanding in DASH Astrology, is that we have free will and we use it however we wish. In relationships, for example, sometimes we use our free will to be codependent when, for example, we're making plans with other people. So what happens, and I was just talking to somebody about this literally before I started recording this video, is that when we create like when that happens is we create a karmic chain to that situation where we need to take care of that karma at some point in the future. And thus we know how to consciously discreate karma, which is another story, and I do teach that as well. You can check out one of the guides on my homepage, like on my site, on my landing page, you can download a guide to do that. Like the level 1 guide of doing that. It's called Atonement, to bring things at oneness. Now, if only one person in these plans, for example, is codependent, then the other person is free of the karma. But when we are codependent, we spin around on what's called the Wheel of Fortune, which is connected to Jupiter, which is the ruler of Sagittarius, okay? And then we spin around on this wheel until we reach a place where we can become accountable for our codependency by clearing out our karma. So the best attitude to have in these situations is to clean karma and elevate others while we are cleaning our karma. It's the best attitude to have. So, I mean, we should always be elevating other people, you know, with and without karmic situations, if there's such a thing. But, you know, you just might need to be wherever you are, where the plans take you, for whatever reason, to elevate interdependence, which is different than codependence, clearing out karma, whatever. The reasons are endless. So we need to understand that if you make codependent plans with people, meaning like you agree to doing something that you don't want to do, okay, again, you're only being codependent with your ego to fulfill some kind of self-image, then you need to pay those dues, right? So Jupiter and Capricorn, right? And because Jupiter is also connected to karma, obviously, it's the Wheel of Fortune. And you should do it by elevating and committing to that karmic situation until it's complete. And I know it's really difficult. I know it's difficult, but it has to be done, and it can be done. Or you have another option. You do have another option. You can run. But what's going to happen, you guys, is that you're going to create more karma in this case. So one of the challenges that Sagittarius will give us is to become more committed to something or to someone. So we can really use these opportunities to commit to clearing out our karma by seeing really where we stand with it all together. And then finally, you guys, on December 12th, we have the full moon in Gemini. I will write about it and also have my virtual ritual to melt down obstacles. So stay tuned for that. And then the season comes to a close when the sun will ingress from Sagittarius into Capricorn on December 21st, 2019, just before Christmas. And obviously the New Year. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped you. To inaugurate the sun entering into Sagittarius, I am going to offer you the solar ingression meditation for $11. You can click on the link in the description below or on my website, and you can purchase that separately, and I will guide you through a really powerful meditation where we work with that archetype, and again, we plant the light that we need for the month ahead. And it's a really powerful way to do that. Otherwise, I'm going to suggest using the Sagittarius Essential Oil Blend and Spray, and this can help you throughout the month as well. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, leave comments and questions in the description below. And I thank you for being the one who makes a difference by using DASH Astrology, and I will see you guys next time. All right, so hopefully I'll see you in the meditation. Bye-bye.